you need certainty. Now, I'll tell you what certainty is. I'll tell you what certainty is in the negative, and I'll tell you what it is in the positive. Islamic terrorists have certainty. That's why they've been so successful. That's why they're so hard to beat. They have certainty. They're insane, but they are certainly insane. Right? They believe without a doubt in what they're doing. They believe that they are going to be rewarded by Allah when they get there. And they believe it is their mission. You cannot waver them. We lack certainty in the West. We lack certainty. Everything's relative. And we have so much, and so much is thrown at us that we're forever, no, over here, okay, this, that, you have a million choices, and you have information overload. And we're never certain because there's always another choice. There's always something else we can distract ourselves with. We need certainty, which is why you have to source within and know what you believe so that you're unshakable. It doesn't mean you're unreasonable. Doesn't mean you can't change your mind. It means you have to be certain. You know, many years ago, I used to say, and my ex-husband used to laugh at me, but I used to say, and I actually, let me tell you how this started. I once said to someone, I was in a philosophical, spiritual discussion with this person, and I said, you know, if a lama came to my door, and I believed that lama was God, I would follow it anywhere. And this person said to me, how can you say that? You're a Jew. How can you say you would follow a lama? No. I said, no, a llama. 4 legs, a llama. If a llama came to my door and it was my personal experience that that was God, I would follow that llama anywhere. Because you don't know anything for certain unless you've experienced it. If I tell you something, you can only believe me or not believe me, but you can't know. So it doesn't say Adam believed Eve or Adam slept with Eve. It said he knew her. Adam knew Eve. Knowing is the highest form of integrating something into your being. When you know it, you're certain. You've experienced it. You're unshakable around it. That's what certainty is. You check here, not here. You know, your mind will play games with you. Your mind, your mind will do lots of stuff to you. Your heart never will. Who has a GPS in their car? Everybody know what it is? Who has one in their body? Where is it, Larry? Huh? It's right here. It's called your heart. You're born with it. That's how we could even invent a GPS. You know, we don't invent or create anything that there isn't a prototype in a non-physical realm, or we couldn't envision it. We couldn't know of it. Computers exist because our mind exists. We were able to make a computer because the human computer exists. And because beyond that, the cosmic computer exists, which has an infinite number of combinations and permutations and software that would be a fortune if you could get your hands on it, okay? In your body is a GPS system. It will never lie to you. Your heart will never lie to you. Only your mind will play games. So if you're thinking something and it's making you nuts, check in with your heart. Because your heart is what will steer you in the right direction. If it doesn't feel good, I assure you it probably isn't. But not feel good like you have a drink, you feel good. Not feel good like you're doing something bad you know you shouldn't be doing, but it feels so good to do it. Not that, not that, not that. True peace, joy, feels good. You feel good about yourself. You feel empowered. You feel optimistic. You feel energized. Listen to that. Don't listen to this. This is a tool to get through the physical world. This is a tool to get through the spiritual world. Okay? This is just a tool to make the body pick up the remote when it needs to and figure out how many squares are. That's what this is for. This is for everything else that matters. The goal is co-creation and balance. That's the goal. And as I said earlier, co-creation across genders, co-creation across continents. In every way, co-creation. We must work with one another, respect one another, and assume that you only have a piece of the information. Now, I tell you, you're directly sourced. Get your information from within. Yes, absolutely. But if you were meant to only get your own information and not apply it or mix it or commingle it or share it or exchange it, you'd be on your own planet. You wouldn't be here with other people. We're all here for a reason. So you've got to first source within, and then you've got to look to match that up in a way that you and someone else or many someones else create something larger than either one of you could on your own. And the more comfortable you get with reading, with trusting your intuition, with sharing without editing, with not worrying about what someone's going to think about what you say or how you see things, the more comfortable you get with that, the more service, the more valuable you become. Because the more important your contribution and the more comfortable you get with yourself, the more comfortable you'll make other people with themselves. And that's the answer. It's happened before. Abraham and Sarah, you know, we tell the stories. We tell these stories. We know these people, but we often don't think of them as working in tandem with one another. Abraham was, you know, he was the original bed and breakfast, if you know your history. He opened his tent. He had a door on all four sides of his tent so that no matter what direction a wayfarer came from in the desert, they could come in. And he always had food. Yeah, well, how did he always have food? Sarah was making sure he had what he needed. Spiritually, Sarah was making sure he had what he needed. Because I'll also tell you that in Judaism, which they don't broadcast a lot, and I can say this because I am one, they will tell you that women are more spiritually highly evolved than men. And that a woman doesn't have to marry, but a man does. Why? Because a man can only elevate his soul through a woman because of her spiritual height. He needs a woman to elevate his soul, but a woman's soul is already elevated. She doesn't need to marry. Now, I will tell you the perversion of that principle, assuming it were true. In the Jewish prayer book, every morning of their lives, every Jew who prays, Jews who are religious and pray every morning, the prayer book says one thing for a man and one thing for a woman. They're different on the 2 pages. When you get to this one prayer, it says on the man's side, thank God for not making me a woman. That's the perversion. You see, that's what, and when I questioned the rabbi and said, whoa, wait a minute, thank God for not making me a woman, do we wonder where abuse comes from and treating women like second class? And he said, no. It's because we're thanking God for the opportunity to grow, because if we were a woman, we couldn't. I said, sell that somewhere else. I'm not buying that one. You know, that's all well and good, but I'm not buying that. And look what that's done, because there is as high an incident of physical abuse in the Orthodox Jewish community as there is in the population at large. It's just not publicized as well. And so all of these little things that don't acknowledge the rightful place of women as equals, as the right to walk into a voting booth without being arrested, as a right to be seen as a co-creator in something wonderful, diminishes all of us, because we're all male and female alike. Isn't that what the book says? I created, you know, and it doesn't even say I, it says we, which is a whole other seminar. It says we created you. In the Hebrew, in the Aramaic, it's we, it's not I. We created you, plural, okay? In our image. We created you in our image, male and female alike. And then a few paragraphs down it says, and Eve was created from Adam's rib. Well, if they were created male and female alike, how did she become from his rib 4 paragraphs down? There's so many inconsistencies, and we gloss over them and we keep living the lie. We keep living the illusion and perpetuating the problems. The good news is the problems have escalated so far to the extreme, the pendulum has nowhere to go but back, which is why we're here. We're all here to push the pendulum back, bring it back this way.